get macroeconomic intervention. Today we've talked about demand and supply. We've talked about taxation. Today we want to talk about the relationship between the firms and the workers. So where does it start? It starts in the labor market. So the relationship between workers and firms starts in the labor market. So that's why the labor market is an economic arena where the demand for and supply of labor meets. So that is where they start their interaction. We call it the labor market. So as soon as you are done in the university, you want to look for a job. You will say, oh, I'm going to the labor market. You are supplying yourself. You are making yourself available for a job. And there are firms there waiting for potential employees. So where you seek your job and where employers seek employees is called the labor market. Do you understand what the labor market is here? So I wrote, it's an economic arena where the supply of, this is from your own side, looking for a job, and the demand for the firms wanting to employ you. Do we get it? So what is demand for labor? Demand for labor is a derived demand. This implies that the firm's demand for labor is due to its decision to produce certain goods or services. So before we go into that, demand for labor is the total number of workers firms are willing to employ at a given wage rate. That is demand for labor. Demand for labor. The numbers of workers firms are willing to employ at a given wage rate. Remember, the reward for labor is what? Wages or salary. Yes or no? So it means if I make myself available for a job, my employers are expected to pay me this or this. Do we understand that? So that is demand for labor. So for demand for labor, it is always what? A derived demand. Which simply means we don't employ, firms do not employ workers for employment's sake. They employ workers because workers will be useful in the production of goods and services. The school, it's a school. Without students, the school will not employ teachers. Or there are more students, then we need more teachers. That is how it goes. The school would not employ teachers to just sit down, waiting for a job, or waiting for students to come. The students will be available, then the school will make teachers available. Do you get it? So that's why the demand for labor is what? A derived demand. So look at it. Labor is therefore demand not for its own sake, but because it is essential for the production of goods and services. So we don't employ workers to make them sit down idle or sleep, to pay them, no. We employ them because they are vital to the production of goods and services. Do we understand demand for labor here? So what is derived demand itself? This is where the demand for goods and services depends upon the use it can be made from it. So it's a derived demand because whatever we have here, it can be useful for certain production. So that's why the demand for labor is what? A derived demand. This is where the demand for goods and services depends upon the use that can be made from it. So we demand for goods and services because it will be useful when it's being produced by employees. So demand for labor is always going to be a derived demand. So it is a derived demand because whatever we are purchasing, whatever we are buying, it is useful for our cause. You don't go to the market to buy a product and throw it away.
You use the product.
You use the product.
You buy it on purpose.
So that is derived demand. This is where the demand for goods and services depends upon the use they can be made from it. So, same goes to workers. Demand for food is demand. Demand for labor is demand for labor is you looking for workers. So you are bringing workers to come and sleep. No. You are bringing them in for work. Do you understand the right demand here?
Yes.
So what are the assumptions that come with what are the assumptions that come with demand for labor? The first one, the firm wishing to hire labor is operating in a competitive market where there are larger sellers and buyers of the labor and there is no single firm or worker that can influence the wage. You know, the demand for labor is wages or salary. So the assumption is that the firm that is willing to employ workers is in a competitive market. And in this competitive market, there is no single firm or worker in that market that can influence the wage paid. So it means the wage is the market wage, the equilibrium wage rate. It is equilibrium. It is determined by the market forces for demand and supply, not you, not me. So the assumption is that a firm will be willing to employ workers because it is fair enough for them to employ. The market is open for all. No one is paying more, no one is paying less. Everyone is at equilibrium. Just as the first assumption here. So it makes it easier for a firm to wish to employ workers because the market is free for all. The market is highly competitive, which makes the firms price taker. Do you get it? So no firm can decide what wages they want to pay because the market is competitive. And because it's competitive, we all have access to the same information. Do you get it? So not a single firm nor a single worker can influence the amount paid in that market. That is the assumption when it comes to demand for labor. The second one, the firm is a profit maximizer, which means it produces when MR equals to MC, profit maximization. Its demand for and supply of labor are based on it being able to maximize the difference between total revenue and total cost. The firm will have to make profits before employing workers. So it's not just going to go to the market and start employing. It must be able to maximize the difference between total revenue, TR, and TC, and making sure that TR is greater than TC. That is the only time the firm will be willing to employ more workers, because at that point in time, the firm will be thinking about expanding. If you're not making profit, are you going to expand? So, the second assumption about demand for labor is that firms will be willing to employ workers if they have been able to maximize the difference between the total revenue and the total cost, which means the firm is a profit maximizer. The firm is making profit. Because it's only when you make profit, you think about expanding. And when you think about expanding, especially if it is labor intensive, you have to employ more workers. There's demand for labor. Do we get it? So this is demand for labor. Do you have any question about it?
Everything's good.
Okay then.